So I didn't really know what to build for this video, so I just kind of loaded up a world and started building. And immediately I kind of started getting an idea and a shape of what I wanted to build, which I didn't actually expect. I kind of just, I had a vague idea that I wanted these nice long windows with some sills um and a nice kind of like upturned flat roof. And I actually, it started coming together like super well, and I really enjoyed how it was looking like immediately. I was really happy with what I was coming up with. I really like this roof. I've never done a roof like this before, and I kind of was just like going with whatever random idea popped into my head, but I kind of wanted it to be like flat and spread out and make it kind of look, I don't know, like ramshackle or something. But it started turning out a lot nicer than I was expecting, and I was really enjoying it. And then I realized that I hadn't turned always day on and I couldn't see. Next, I started this dock out of campfires, like I saw Grian do in his his last season of Hermitcraft, I believe it was. And then I started digging out the lake, and I was trying to make it as asymmetrical and goofy looking as I could, and I filled it up. And then immediately started having problems with the dock being way too low for this to look natural. The water was way too high and everything. So I immediately started figuring out how to fix it, and I raised the dock up, and that was looking really good. Um, but then I had a problem with how am I gonna get in the door? The door is it's too high, and then I put it down one, and that just looked weird. So then I started using trapdoors, and that not only fixed my problem, but also gave it like this really cool different texture to add in there, and I really liked the way the trapdoors looked. And then I was able to fill the lake all the way back up so that it wasn't comically low. And I put these little supports underneath the pier and the house, and I did this kind of shading effect so that it looked like the bottom was all muddy and sunken down, and I like that. And then I crashed into the pier a whole bunch trying to figure out how to park a boat properly. I did these signs as kind of like side bits, fence maybe, I'm not sure. I liked it. And then I began the long laborious task of turning all the mud in the riverbed into, or no, sorry, what? All the dirt into mud. And it looked a lot better after that. And then I put sand along the sides because I wanted kind of a sandy, loamy kind of feel, and added some suspicious sand to variate the texture. And it was looking really good and I liked it. And I wanted to put shutters on the windows, and then I got this idea to use spruce trapdoors as like those shutters you can put down on like fire outpost, lookout outpost or whatever. This front wall gave me some grief, but I found out a design I really liked. I put some barrels out front, and then I decorated the inside, which was just kind of a bunch of bits and bobs that I put together. I really like these support beams, though. I liked how they turned out. They looked really nice. The inside of the house kind of reminded me of like a barrel, which I really liked. I really tried to put a lot of effort into the inside of the house and the outside to make it really look like somebody lived here and that this was somebody's home with personality and it wasn't just a bunch of random stuff. Next, we went outside to mess with the foliage, make it a little overgrown, make it look like a wild place, and I loved I loved this. It looked so fun. It looked so cute and it was really fun. And I figured out you could do long grass and then also accidentally figured out you could do long drip leaf and then put some taller ones to make it look more overgrown and cool. And then I started adding the background of oak leaves. I thought my computer died. Anyway, we kept planting trees and I kept getting stuck. But I was doing some big ones for the big background and then some little ones in between to kind of fix the spacing. Um, I had to put a lot to make sure um the sky wouldn't shine through and ruin the illusion that we were in the middle of a forest. So, lots and lots of trees, absolutely everywhere. I really like placing trees. It was kind of therapeutic, although I did keep getting stuck under the trees and in the trees, which was really interesting. I kind of stood here and admired it for a minute because I could really see the painting coming along, and I really liked that. Um, Then we added even more background trees. I saw an empty bit and I was like, oh, I want to put a big tree here because I don't want any gaps. And I put these big trees back here because I like the illusion of the taller ones poking up over the top of the smaller ones, and it makes the forest look a lot more dense. And so I was just kind of sprinkling the little trees in between to fill in the gaps so it didn't look artificial and weird. And I loved how it looked so thick and authentic. And standing here, it really did look like I was in a forest, which I was really happy about. And then delving back into the story side of this again, I wanted to add a garden off to the right of the building and got a little OCD and I had to add another tree into the background because there was a spot that looked very barren and that looks much better. Getting started on the garden, I just kind of wanted to make a little bit of a scraggly, a little bit of a messy, just nice little farm. I mean, for one little fisherman, this was what he grew. It didn't need to be very big. It didn't need to be fancy. It was a humble little farm out in the middle of the woods, and I gave him a little bit of everything. Um, and that was very nice. And then I bone mealed it up so I didn't have to wait forever, and it was looking very nice and very cute. And there were little spots that I had missed, but that was fine. I liked adding those little edge bits so that it felt a little bit more crazy, more just casually. And then I decided what would make it look even cooler was if I intermixed some of the crops so it looked a lot more homegrown, I suppose. Give it a little more character, that he's just growing food. He's not super fussed about nice tidy rows. And I add some coarse dirt around the outside to give it some detail. And I was wondering how to make this garden a little more, character, give it more tiny details. And I was like, oh, a light post or a spot for a lantern to hang so it's nice and light. So I went and looked at the front to see where I should put it so it would fit in the painting, and I did more shading sort of thing with the lamppost or no, the fences to make it look like the bottom was kind of muddy from where the rain splashed up the soil. And then I did the fence out of trapdoors and signs, which doesn't look a lot like a fence, but I kind of wanted to give it the feel of like, it's not a super serious fence. There's not a lot of things that he's worried about getting into his garden other than deer, and he's not super, worried about the deer or the rabbits. I mean, they probably are annoying, but I wanted to give it a kind of like low, maybe a little raggedy fence. That's kind of been there for a while. It's not in amazing condition, but it still is there. It's a little touch to the garden, and I kept accidentally typing on the signs. Um, I like the look of these trapdoors used as a fence. The, the only thing that annoys me about it is that, you can't turn corners very well. And so you have to have these weird gaps in them. But, I wasn't horribly fussed because that still kind of gave the vibe I was hoping for of the sort of derelict fence, not super well taken care of, not super wasn't super worried about it, and I kind of took a step back, and I liked the way it looked. And I decided to kind of do this thing that I see a lot of people do, where I put sea lanterns around and then moss on it to light it up, and then did not commit to that. But let's take a step back and see how the ambience looks. Oh, right, I'm not done yet. So then I went around and bone mealed the ground to create some foliage that you could see under the trees, add a little bit more depth as well again. And then I realized I couldn't see, so I turned it back to day and kept bone mealing the ground. And then I realized that I actually wanted some more trees. And then I spent absolutely forever trying to figure out what on earth was stopping this tree from growing. I still, to this day, do not know what was stopping my tree. It wasn't the long grass. There were no trees nearby. It just would not grow in that spot. So finally, I moved it over and finally got the tree and then actually went into the back rooms, apparently. So that was fun. And then the rain was lagging me. So I got rid of that as well. So now the video should be a lot cleaner. But went around, put some more trees in, kept getting stuck in them and under them, and this one again would not grow. But this time I actually did find the cause for it. There were no trees over it, but it was the long grass that time. But I mean, I'm still stumped about that big tree. It wasn't a long grass, so I don't know what on earth was making it so upset. Um, Went around, put some more little trees, just to add a little bit more forest, and some more over here, just to kind of, you know, bring in the semicircle of trees to more of a solid circle so that I didn't have to worry so much about accidentally exposing the wide open sky in the side of the frame, and I could more fully do shots. And so after adding some final touches to the front, I learned that you couldn't place firefly bushes on sand and therefore put it all over in the grass at the edge of the tree line, and that was very nice, and I liked how that looked a lot. So I decided to let it switch tonight and see what it looked like. And while I absolutely loved the look of the fireflies and they added so much to the atmosphere, I wanted some more. So I went and put moss blocks around the edge of the pond and destroyed the drip leaf. But I fixed it. It was fine. And added a little bit more fireflies. I love how these bushes glow in the dark. Oh, they make me so happy. They're so cute. I scattered these bushes liberally around the edge of the pond, so I made sure that the air was very thick with bugs and there would be plenty of fireflies to suit my needs. And so, with a few final touches, our swamp was done. So that was it for my little paint a painting little episode that I did there. It was a lot of fun. I really like using Minecraft as a creative medium, especially because I can create an atmosphere and make it so immersive, and it's a lot of fun. And I like this one a lot. I loved how this cabin turned out. It was really cool. I haven't built something that I've liked this much in a very long time, and this thunder in the background actually. So I have my Minecraft weather volume down really low because I don't like the sound of the rain. It's very, very loud. So I have it about 50. And I have my PC volume very low as well because I have very sensitive ears. And there's one lightning strike in here. Or no, sorry, that one. That one right there. That deafened me. It was so loud. I couldn't even imagine how loud it would have been if my volume was way higher than it was. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I love the little photography clips that I got, and they just feel very cozy. They feel very cool and immersive, and I like them a lot. I've been trying to build atmospheres or spots with a story. I like doing that a lot, trying to tell a story visually or through something like memories, or I don't know how to describe it, like feelings and memories in a spot. And so thank you so much for watching, and I would really appreciate it if you gave this video a like and maybe subscribed if you felt like that was something you wanted to do. I worked very hard on this video. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Goodbye. Mwah.